What's your channel? Just trying to run it.
Also on LinkedIn too.
We'll check out some of your stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're a content creator?
Yeah.
Quality too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Have you ever read the book Mountain Habits?
I have not.
It's you might like it. It's all based on
Wait, when did you move to Austin? Oh, dude, wow.
Yeah, so I got the main video of that. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It's based on talking about tech sales, going through SDR world as an account executive, and yeah, it's been really cool. And the big focus now is basically helping people hire tech sales.
Got it.
Yeah.
I do podcasts about SDRs, or I used to.
Yes, yeah. Oh, okay.
Are we a fan of Grant Cardone sales tactics or not?
For the most part, yes.
Yeah.
He was a big inspiration of mine. You know, just at all costs make more money. It doesn't matter. I used to listen to a lot of his tapes going into the business just to get fired. So I like it.
You don't need morning coffee if you're listening to that early in the morning. You're good to go. So.
Cool. Well, looking forward to chatting with you guys more.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, man, I think that the LinkedIn space, that intersection of like I said, lavender. What do you understand from looking at the content? Because especially if you're able to guess where the buyers are, they've reached out to me. And somebody who are engaging in something for years or sprints, you know.
Check.
want to see the sound settings? I was here. Yeah, we're doing a OS 10 demo right here. Yeah. Yo, Apple, where's my check?
Testing, test 1 2 1 2. Can y'all hear me? Hello, hello, hello. We're good. All right, I just want to let y'all know. I'm sorry for the for the delay, but we're gonna start here in about 5 minutes. So if y'all could take y'all seats, please, and get comfortable, because it's gonna be a show. Thank you.
So what is capital factor? Is it just a little space you accelerator?
They're gonna do the intros.
Alright, so we're gonna do close one and you're gonna do hit the phone.
Yeah, like later. So we're just doing close one for now. Is it not behind the monitor? It should be like mounted. Yeah, it's like. I'm sorry about that. That's what your word is. Okay, I'm about to call you an Uber. I have all the batteries. Yeah. Not big. Find something that gets momentum. I do have the batteries. Nope, that would be all. Okay, thank you so much. I love you. Okay, see you soon. Bye. I left my camera on this out. So Rebecca's at my place. Yeah, so I have that like. Left it on there. I packed everything else.
I was wondering why.
Maybe some good,
That's
video.
all you, man. That's something you're really good at. That's why I'm like,
Hot.
that's something I'm super good at too.
The basic answer is Drizzy Drake, the GOAT.
Yeah.
But I would say like recently it's been a lot of like Detroit Flint rappers, like Rio to Young OG, RMC Mike, like Babytron.
I I need to look those up. Babytron. That's I'll take a note of that.
They,
Always looking for news.
I just need you to open up and I got it.
Yeah, I'm thinking we kind of do a regular, like, the introduction, like, hey, welcome to SaaStock, and then, like, kind of go into, like, a little bit of the story. Okay, so as long as, okay, so you can do the story, and then after that, I'm gonna invite Yuli up here. You know what I'm saying? You ready? Wait, how are we doing this again?
I don't know. You just have to open it up. Just do your thing. Yeah, you do what you do.
Hello. All right. I think we are ready to start now.
You think so?
I think we're ready to start. So,
Thank God.
we're gonna make this introduction short so we can kind of get right to it, right? So, for everybody here that does not know, my name is Shalik, and this is Isaiah. We run a company named Evron. We're just a marketing agency for B2B SaaS companies. So, I think to start off the first SaaStock local here in Austin, we're gonna give just a brief kind of, how should we do it? Kind of just talk about how we even got here. Like, why are we up here versus anybody else? That's what I'm confused about.
Oh yeah, I guess it was divine, right? So, if you weren't at SaaStock a couple months ago, then you missed something special. So it was actually this time last year we were looking for events to go to around the U.S. and it was SaaSter, Inbound, and then we seen this thing called SaaStock, and we were like, "What's this?" So
Tickets were expensive.
very expensive, but we paid for it anyway. And then it came around. We enjoyed the event, great companies. We got to meet a lot of founders, a lot of go-to-market leaders, and it was just a great time. So here we go. After the event, the SaaStock party afterwards, and we got to meet Alex. So he's the founder of SaaStock, and we told him our story, how we came up as an agency and how we got into B2B SaaS, and he loved our story. So the first step was to get on the SaaStock Revolution show, and so we hopped on the podcast. It was great, and he was like, you know what? Since Austin's our second home, I would love it if you guys could do the Austin local, since you're in Austin.
What is that? What is Austin local? I don't know what that is.
It's everybody in the room. It's all of our local events that we're going to be sponsored by SaaStock, and it's a really special event. We're going to hopefully do these once a quarter at the very least.
Yeah, we're looking to do it once a quarter, and the difference, I'll say the difference between this and like the regular conference is obviously this is going to be throughout the year. So yeah, like once a quarter, pretty much.
At least.
And this is going to be a little more intimate. So a lot of the faces that you see here in the room now, they're going to probably be at the next event, hopefully, right? Thumbs up for everybody.
There we go.
Everybody should come to the next event, and then the next event.
And the one after that.
And then the one after that.
Okay.
And then eventually what we want to see here is a community. I put it on LinkedIn. I want it to be more of not just any regular community, but more of a family type vibe. So obviously we are not related, right? But it has to be some sort of like where everybody in the room feels comfortable going to everybody else that's in the room, right? You want to be able to get advice from people and not feel silly when you're asking a question to anybody. And hopefully it was about 30 minutes of networking. That was not planned, to being completely transparent. But it was like 30 minutes of networking, so hopefully everybody got a chance to meet some people. If not, please meet the people that you have not met. And again, these seats are like this because we want it to be more intimate, right? We want people to sit next to people and kind of be awkward, right? I'm sitting next to you. I don't know who you are. Let me meet you. Gentleman right here has a cowboy hat on. I don't know why, but I'm going to figure it out, right? And so that's kind of why the seats are like this. And so from here on out to different events, me and Isaiah were like, how can we make this event different than all of the other events? And this is the first one. I'm going to be honest with you. This being the first one, this is probably going to be the most boring one. So the next one is going to be a whole lot.
Well, this was not really boring. I mean, we got
Yeah.
we got a special guest in the house. So
And so if this is the most boring, I can imagine what the next one's going to be like.
yeah, it's gonna be
crazy.
fun. But just a quick special shout out to our sponsors. Number one, Capital Factory for making this event happen with this beautiful space. And next after that is Honeycomb. Yulia, we actually wanted you to come on stage and just introduce yourself and give her a round of applause, please.
By the way, Yulia, she's the one that organized the food, so please say thank you to her.
Hi, everyone. I'm also a big fan of SaaStock, so if you're planning your next year's conferences, definitely mark your calendar for May next year. It's a very decent place to be if you are running a SaaS business or a SaaS enthusiast. But we are at Honeycomb Software. We are your partner for your engineering efforts, web development, app development. We also do consultancy in AI and ML. We actually turned 8 today. Yeah, we are small, more or less, but mighty team of 90 engineers based in, senior guys are here in Houston and others are in Eastern Europe, Poland, and Ukraine. And I'd like to invite everyone of you scan that QR code to have basically like a complimentary project plan for your idea. It can be also funny, nothing, you don't need to discreet like anything confidential. And you'll receive like a small project plan by generative AI. And also, if there's somebody who needs some kind of services for quality assurance audit or development services audit, not audit, credits, feel free to reach out anytime. We'll provide from $2,000 to $5,000 credit for software development, depending on the deal size. And that's it. Glad to meet all of you.
Yeah, so as everybody knows, we have amazing speakers today.
Yes.
But actually, so what did go unplanned, this was actually last minute.
Last night. It was literally last night.
Yeah, it was like last night. I can show you the text. It's crazy. So one of our friends, Ding, everybody say, yeah, Ding. Woo. Yeah.
There we go, yes.
Right? So Ding here is what you would call a sales rapper. This is Ding. And
You know when you ring a doorbell? That's me. I'm responsible for all of that.
yeah, so Ding here is going to put on the show, and this is Ding. So I'm going to let Ding do his own like introduction. He's go ahead.
How's it going, y'all? Yeah, that's right. Ding like a doorbell, so none of y'all should forget my name. I am the sales rapper. I'm mildly popular on LinkedIn. I was a rapper for 15 years, and then I was a software sales guy in the tech industry. So we all have something in common here. And then this is my good friend, Eric, also known as MC Clockwork. And we have a song called Close One. And we want to get that Close One energy here for everyone to kick off an amazing event. All right, DJ, hit me. Let's go. I want to see some dancing.
Yeah, I think it's the loudest we can get the music, but we'll make it work.
Hey, yeah, that's right. All the long days and sleepless nights, hope is burning low, how to keep it alive. Don't know if it'll close, but I'll be alright, 'cause I'm definitely not giving up without a fight. So fun, opportunities close one for the next one, job not done. Each day brings something new to overcome.
Days and sleepless nights.
Hope is burning low, how to keep it alive.
I don't know if it will grow, but I'll be alright.
'Cause I'm definitely not giving up without a fight. Oh, it's so fun. Opportunity close one. Now it's time for the next one. Job not done. Each day brings something new to overcome.
All this is new to me, sales. I speak it fluently. Soon you'll see close showing up on opportunities. Interest truly peaked when we got them on the line. Get a sign, cash a check after names on dotted lines. No time to rhyme. We've rounded our metrics and check this. I be closing deals while playing Tetris. I don't need all your coaching or none of your clips. You'll choke and seek the boat while I'm running the ship. Just call me the captain. I'm crunching these quotes. Cold call you on a Sunday eating cinnamon toast. Prospects are jarred when the value's hitting hard. Not thinking I'm smart. I'm just a lowly SDR. Y'all be stuck in phone trees while I'm charming gatekeepers. Ideas in reach, bigger than thought leaders. Pissing off your boss 'cause it's 6 p.m. I reach deaths of DMs like it's ABM.
Days and sleepless nights, hope is burning low, how to keep it alive. Don't know if it'll close, but I'll be alright, 'cause I'm definitely not giving up without a fight. Oh, it's so fun, opportunity close one for the next one. Job not done. Each day brings something new to overcome.
Sleepless nights.
Hope is burning low, how to keep it alive.
Close,
But I'll be alright, cause I'm definitely not giving up without a fight. Oh, it's so fun.
Opportunity
Close one. Now it's time for the next one. Job not done. Each day brings something new to overcome. Marathon and not a sprint. You don't want to see another close lost again. Wrote the email, forgot to send. Need some next steps like oxygen. What's work-life balance? In a war with legal, it means some more red lines. Double up my forehead line. With the process buttoned up, of course they sign. Hope is burning low, how to keep it alive. Don't know if it'll close, but I'll be alright. Giving up without a fight. Oh, it's so fun. Opportunity close one. Now it's time for the next one. Job not done. Each day brings something new to overcome. Hope is burning low, how to keep it alive. Don't know if it'll close, but I'll be alright. Cause I'm definitely not giving up without a fight. Oh, it's so fun. Opportunity closed one. Now it's time for the next one. Job not done. Each day brings a new to overcome.
Make some noise. Yeah, I wish I had the speakers a little loud. It's a little awkward.
Now, next time we'll have
song,
auto-tune
but
on
yeah,
the
we
mics.
appreciate you guys.
Thank you. So
Round
that
of
was
applause. Round of applause. Come
yeah,
on.
Yeah. Can
Here we
get
go.
another one, please?
There we go. So,
That one was different. So has anybody heard Ding's album? If not, please go buy it.
Yeah, please.
It's amazing.
please go stream it. Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Okay. LinkedIn too. Yeah, I know all of you on LinkedIn. So.
I mean, just search Ding. Like, it's the only
Ding,
on
I
LinkedIn.
think.
But yeah, so I want to thank you for giving that wonderful performance. But now let's actually get to our first speaker.
presentation.
Yeah, our first presentation that we've been waiting for. Yeah, there we go. He's coming.
This is actually our first time getting to meet Nathan in person. We went to his event during SaaStock, and we just didn't get to meet him, but it's okay. So, without further ado, the CEO and co-founder of Founder Path, Nathan Leitka.
Thanks, boss. Thanks, boss. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. I'm not going to be able to match that at all. Ding. Amazing. I'm going to look up B2B SaaS Boys on LinkedIn right after this. Nice work. So, guys, I'm super excited to be here. Based off my conversations with Luke and Nick and a couple of guys before, and there's a lot of folks that are go-to-market in here. So just real quick, raise your hand if you're in a go-to-market or sales role right now. Hi. Okay, most of the room. So who's hit their quota for Q4 already and you're ready to just check out? Who's holding back all the good deals for right before Thanksgiving or Christmas? Yeah, there you go. You have the pipeline, you're holding them back, right? That's great. Well, look, we're going to spend, I'm going to read your body language. This presentation can go 27 minutes, or I can cut it down to 14. So based off if we're having fun or not, we'll see what happens. But what I'm going to try to get into here is the 2024 state of SaaS. And for those of you that don't know me, you might be going, who the hell is this guy? Why should I listen to him? And so let me give some quick context here. This was me. This was my sort of state of SaaS when it started, 19 years old, baby-faced at Virginia Tech. And I'd started a company called Heyo.com, H-E-Y-O, drag-and-drop website builder. And this was after I was studying architecture, and I said, I like money too much. I can't be an architect. So dropped out, put on a suit, launched this thing at Virginia Tech. Any Hokies in the house? No, yeah, it's so far away from Blacksburg, Virginia. Okay, fair enough. All right, so that's what it looked like. And I said, okay, we got the company. Next thing is hire people, hire. Hired like crazy. You see there in the upper left, grew this to 40 people full-time. And I said, this is it. We have made it. This is what you're supposed to do. We were doing yoga. I mean, this is how you know we were there, right? Yoga in the office. Now, what happened was, as we bootstrapped this to about $1 million of revenue, I'll let you read that highlighted line, which is the Series A that we got done. So when David Cohen from Techstars reached out, I said, this is what it's supposed to feel like. This is what making it means. We're going to get a round done. This is our Series A. It was a $2 million Series A on an 8.5 pre, so that's 10.5 post money. It's the most money that I'd ever seen in the bank account at the time, and I said, okay, I feel really good. This is what's supposed to be happening. The problem is this is what my cap table looked like. This is the actual cap table. Now, if you scan carefully down that right side, you're going to see the asterisk, the adult supervision CEO. Look, I love Techstars and David to death, but he said, Nathan, you're like 20 years old in Blacksburg, Virginia. I'm never flying to Blacksburg, Virginia. You need an adult super. He didn't say it that way. He said, you need a COO. Well, to go hire that COO, it took 9% of the business to recruit that person. So you see 9% to them. You see 19% to the Series A, the yellow highlighted cell. And I was diluted already down to 38%. Right? This was terrible. Outside of your co-founder, the most dilutive event you will ever face is your seed round or your Series A, where you're selling, 20 to 25% of the business. Now, out of curiosity, we love our co-founders. Any solo founders in the house? Raise your hand. 100% club, right? 100%. Matt, does it feel good? Nice to start there, yes. And you'll hear from Matt right after this, too. You don't want to miss that. But this is what our cap table looked like. And so moving forward, I said, okay, let's keep growing. And so we put, and you see here, actually, I said, I can't talk about this on stage without showing proof, right? So on page 6 in my book, you see my actual tax return in the upper right. This is the year we hit about $1 million of top-line revenue. And I said, okay, this feels really good. This feels great. We've raised this A. And then I got this letter. And if you look at the yellow highlight in the bottom right, this is, as a 21-year-old in Blacksburg, Virginia, $6.5 million, all cash, from $1 million bootstrapped company from a group called Eye Contact, and right now wanted to buy it. Now, how many, raise your hand if you're between 20 and 23 in the room. Raise your hand. 24? Yeah, all right. Would you take the deal? And, any other heartbeats? Yes. Who would take the deal quickly? Wes said absolutely. Yeah, okay, yeah, right. Abby said yes. We'll get back to what I decided here in a second, okay? But I'm going to spend about 11 minutes telling you where I think SaaS is going and what's working today. Now, in terms of what's working today, these are the 3 buckets we're going to go over. So you can sort of go, okay, is this guy going to get off the stage in the next minute or 2 minutes? How much do we have left? There's 3 buckets I want to go through. First, revenue per employee, right? So metrics that matter today if you're growing your bootstrap SaaS company. Next is, and this is relevant for all your go-to-market folks, 1-day payback. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about collected lifetime value. That's the bottom left in the first bucket. The middle bucket, so the second 5 minutes, will focus on growth. If you want to grow today without a lot of money, how do you do that? I'm going to give you 3 examples, show you how they're doing it. And then lastly, I'm going to predict and make 3 big predictions for what I think is going to happen in 2024. Yes or no? Does this sound good? Yeah? We're good? All right. All right, let's dive in. We'll go through this quickly, and then throw your hand in the air if you've got a question or something's confusing. Please interrupt me. I appreciate that. I can't take credit for most of this stuff. This all comes from a podcast that I run. Has anyone ever listened to the show or heard of the show? Okay, Matt, yeah, a couple. Am I too aggressive on the show? Yes, yes. Did you guys go on? Did I interview you or no? Which company? Which company? Which company? BigSister.ai. So you came on and you said, this guy just like, what's up? What's his deal? Anyone else? Am I too aggressive?
I think you're great. I mean, you're getting stuff, you're moving stuff forward, so I think you did a great job.
I said, I love Tim Ferriss, but it's like, I don't have 4 hours to listen. And then I listened to like John Dumas and Entrepreneur on Fire. I like 15 minutes, but I don't want fluffy questions like, what's your biggest failure? So I said, okay, 15 minutes, grill them like hell, go. This was August 2017. Fast forward to today, I got so addicted, I've personally recorded over 3,300 interviews, 1 per day, since 2017. About halfway through, I said, I need to take this audio data and put it in a big Excel file so that we can all learn from it. So it's structured data, right? This is before LLM, data sets, sample cohorts, AI, before all that stuff. So look, we got a lot of great reviews, 500 5-star reviews, and then there's this guy. What's it say? Mayor Doofus. It's probably not real. It's probably my mom messing with me. But in all seriousness, this review is very accurate. I know it's only a 2, but this is actually what we're trying to build. I take great pride in this. This is exactly what we're trying to build, right? Is basically, you can't get this data from founders without interviewing them. They're not going to reply to an email and tell you their valuation or their revenue per employee or their profit margin or their valuation or how much they gave their co-founder. They're not going to tell you that. You got to social engineer it out of them, right? Which is what the podcast is. So I've interviewed some of the top SaaS founders in the world. You know, John in the upper left with Hopin came on pre-revenue, obviously grew that to, a lot of money, did a $200 million secondary. You see Sid at GitLab up there on the top pre-IPO. How many of you guys use Outreach.io? Right? See Manny up there on the upper right, came on the show. Mathilde from front, the founder of Automatic and WordPress is in the upper left there as well. So a lot of great founders have come on the show. And again, we've just structured all this data into these formats. So let's jump into metrics first. I want to talk first about revenue per employee. So I want you guys all to think about what your current revenue per employee is, right? So just take your total revenue. And it's nice too, because we've got like Luke, publicly traded company, $140 million of revenue go to market. Are you guys still bootstrapped or you guys raised capital? Sister AI. You're still bootstrapping. So we got bootstrapping companies. We got a wide range. Take your total revenue, so last month's revenue times 12, annualize it, and divide it by your full-time employees. Ignore contractors, right? So if you've got $1 million of revenue, 10 employees, it's $100,000 of revenue per employee, right? So what does good revenue per employee look like? Well, let me share an example. This gentleman's generating $500K of revenue per employee, and we're going to learn from his name is Andy with a group called Loademy. Let's see if this works.
Those kinds of customers. Now, let me do some math here. $15,000 a month price point on average, nice round number, times 300 customers. That puts you at about $4.5 million a month right now. Is that accurate?
I think it's a little higher than that. Yeah, we generate a lot of excess revenue in terms of what I call overages. So you'll see a lot of data fees in there.
Pure SaaS though, 4.5 a month.
Yeah, it's ballpark in that ballpark.
So 70 million ARR on 170 employees, right? He's doing really good at about $469,000 of revenue per employee. This is a badge of honor because if you get a lot from one person, it means, guess what? The money goes to the bottom line. You have profits. It's a beautiful thing. That's how you build wealth. Anyone in here feel like you've got higher than maybe like $250,000 revenue per employee and you want to share it? If not, no big deal. But anybody? You guys, what are you at? What are you building? Okay. Well, do you also only have like $1 of revenue, so it's like infinite revenue per employee? Give this guy a round of applause. $500,000 with no employees. How do you convince everyone to work for free? Okay, well, what's your name? You guys got to talk to Josh after this. You got to learn whatever he's doing. All right, that's a good open hook right there. Let's keep moving forward, right? Let's keep moving forward. Next thing, I hear this all the time. All right, I hear this all the time. Who knows what LTV means? Yeah, CAC. Yeah, right. People always brag about this. LTV to CAC 5 to 1. I must be doing something amazing. The problem with this is that most people, what they do is they say, well, I've got really low churn, right? And they do 1 divided by their churn rate annualized. So like let's say they have 1% monthly churn. You do 1 divided by 0.01 and you get 100 months. And then you take your monthly ARPU, whatever it is, $50. $50 times 100 months gives you $5,000 of LTV. And then they say, I spend $1,000 to get the customer. Okay, great, that's a 5 to 1 ratio. But the problem is, how long does it take them to get that money back? Yeah, I know, it's quick math in your head, right? Quick math in your head. Today, payback period and how quickly you get your money back is way more important than LTV to CAC. The best companies that don't require outside capital, they get their money back quickly, and Russell Brunson does this extremely well with ClickFunnels. If you look at his sales page over here on the right, you'd have no idea he's selling a software product here. What he's doing is he knows it takes him $10 to get a new customer. That's what he spends on ads. So he puts this tripwire product at the top of his funnel, sells it to get his CAC back instantly, right? So the money velocity is literally instant. And then on the back of this, he upsells a $97 per month software tool. Anyone use ClickFunnels or read any of Russell's books? Okay, cool. Yeah, Isaiah, good guy, right? I mean, really, really smart copywriter. The numbers don't lie, folks. That's his revenue, right? Is that big enough? $0 to $140 million, bootstrapped. You can't bootstrap that company without a $0, basically instant CAC payback, right? He's a genius at that, right? So that's what we mean by a one-day payback period is more important than LTV to CAC. That's the question you should be asking yourself in your own company, right? How do you get customers and how can you get paid back instantly? Anyone think I'm full of shit with that? You go, no, I love my LTV to CAC. Matt is like the guy with metrics. Would you disagree or agree with this? In today's market. Okay. Yep. Yeah, okay, cool. There we go. All right. If you disagree with me, come debate me afterwards. I love that, right? The next thing I want to talk about is collected lifetime value. Everyone talks about projected lifetime value. The problem is if you're not here in a year, it doesn't matter what your projection is. So let's look at what you've already done. If you guys all go into your Stripe accounts or however you bill your customers and you sort from who's paid the most to the least, right? Anyone have customers that have paid you more than $50,000 lifetime? Yeah, okay. Luke, you guys are a publicly traded company? You have to. I was about to say, every publicly traded company, when you look at their S1, the big sentence is, we have 600 customers that pay more than $100,000 per year, and we have 10 customers that pay more than $1 million per year, and it's like a badge of honor, because it's very hard to build a $25 or $50 million software company if you can't get at least one customer paying you at least $100,000 a year. So if you're trying to build a sustainable software company like this, you should be thinking, what is something you can sell your biggest customer to get your first $100,000 per year customer, right? Right, and so Alfonso does this really well with a group called UserZoom. I'm gonna let him take it away here with his revenue data.
We want to go public next year, by the way. So that's our target, right? And if you want to go public, you need to show that you're able to grow in both expansion dollars as well as new bookings or new logos. So what we have is a strategy right now, go-to-market strategy, that up until now we've been focusing quite a bit on really expanding our current accounts. I mean, we're seeing our NRR, for instance. I think last time we spoke was 120. We're looking at 125.
So this was recorded October 2021, and what he said is his net revenue retention (NRR) was 120%, which is targeting 140%. Now he didn't end up going. This would have been he was trying to go public last year, 2022. It's 2023 today, right? He obviously didn't go public, right? But still got the deal done, right? So got a private equity firm with those economics to come in, do an $800 million sort of two companies put together, merged. It worked very well for him. Tom Bravo led that round. So again, he's got customers though where individual customers are paying over $100,000 per year. So again, does anyone have anyone that's paid them $10,000 life to date? Any 10,000? Okay. And Matt, what's your ARPU? Like the average customer is paying what per month? $500. Okay, cool. So you've got some folks that have been paying you for like 2 years, or in advance up front. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Okay, so this is the summary for section 1. I'll let you scan it quickly. Feel free to snap a shot if you want to take it back to your team, but that's a summary of section 1. That's the 3 metrics going into 2024 that you should focus on if you want to do more with less. Keep equity. Don't drain a bunch of cash. All right? Cool. Isaiah, you guys keep me honest on time. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep cranking through these, all right? All right, section 2, shrink team, do more. We heard about the 0-person team with $500,000 in revenue. We love that, right? We love that. We'll talk more about that. I'm going to talk about 8 $0 CAC ideas. So how can you get customers for free? And then again, getting to that first $100,000 customers. Let's talk about shrinking and doing more. Who here paid at least one freelancer at least $1 last month to do something at your company? Raise your hand. Raise it high. Raise it high. I want to take a real poll here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 8. Okay. Those of you that haven't, what are you scared of? Maybe Sister AI, why haven't you guys leveraged contractors? You have contractors outside of the company. Okay. Through partners. Okay, great. Freelancer playbook. The art of figuring out something that's a process that really helps your company, documenting it, and then paying cheaper cost labor to do it for you to free up your time is how you build a cost-efficient company where you don't have to hire and pay people $200,000 per year. Hey, you want $200,000 per year? This guy, Matt will pay. Join Summit. Matt's got a job for you. But this is how we use freelancers at FounderPath today, right? We have a process. When we go on Upwork, we upload the steps into the job section over here. And here's where most people make a mistake. You do all the hard work to put this playbook together. There's a Loom video at the end so the freelancer can watch it, but then you only give it to one contractor. The problem is, what will shock you guys is if you write the same process doc and you give it to 3 freelancers, right? I gave it to Schraub, Andrea, Victoria, a couple others. They will all give you vastly different outputs. With the same set of instructions, same input, way different output. And so what you want to do is then measure all the outputs. So for this, I was having them take a interview and transcribe it and then write it into a blog post. It's a very simple freelancing tool, right? And I said, okay, were their timestamps accurate? Right? Did they write it right? And then they got total points. Here's the trick where you really juice your profits. You then take cost versus quality in that last column. So was it accurate versus what did they pay, right? You see there Andrea's $50 per transcript, Victoria's $60. What you want to do is take whoever has the highest quality relative to what you paid and then negotiate a group discount. So Andrea, you did a great job here. What if I gave you 30 of these per quarter? Could you drop your per unit cost from 50 per transcript to 20 per transcript? Because I'm guaranteeing you revenue. And that's how you start to juice economics over time and get a real flywheel with freelancers, an army of freelancers working for you. $0 CAC. I joke about this. The most impressive founders to me, and frankly the ones that build the most wealth, they win with this. Like genius creativity. Losers throw money at problems, in my opinion, right? They raise money and they say, throw ad dollars at it. Hire 20 more people. Okay, well, anyone can throw money at a problem. You win with creativity, right? And so what I'm about to show you are some ways to be creative, growing your software company without spending a lot of money. And I think Shahad did this extremely well at Loom. Now, this was recorded. How many of you guys heard the Loom news 2 weeks ago, right? What was the price? $975 million is what this guy sold for. This interview was recorded in 2019. He had this much revenue, $0 of revenue. Listen to how he talked about his business then.
Like in the mid-month, we're expecting anywhere from 3 to 4% of the existing user base of active users convert.
200,000 active users. They engage with the video, at least one video, view it, whatever, send a video each month. 3% of those converted. When you put the paywall up, that's 6,000 at $10 a pop. So $60,000 there in terms of monthly recurring revenue. You think is going to happen how quickly?
I would say roughly out the gate. So that's because that's existing users. That's like.
So he emailed me. This was 24 hours before he launched the paywall. He emailed me after, and they went from 0 to 80,000 bucks of MRR in 24 hours. Now, he also had 1.2 million free users, right? So the real lesson here is how did he do that to then launch the paywall, to then generate the MRR? Now, he has what we call viral coefficient. How many of you guys have used Loom before? Raise your hand. Yeah, so you guys all know when you share it with somebody else, this is at the end, right? So one user turns into 1.5, boom, we have viral coefficient greater than 1, right? You get arbitrage there. We don't all have that luxury, right? We don't have that luxury. Document signing tools do because it requires 2 people. Right, video sharing tools do because it requires a recorder and a viewer. What you want to be thinking about is what can you create inside of your company relevant to your business that just begs to be shared, right? That begs to be shared, right? Because we're all not going to launch document signing companies. Again, this worked well for them. Atlassian just bought the company 2 weeks ago, right? Great outcome for the founders. They took them about 250 million. All right, here's how you can, if you do spend money on ads and you want to get your money back quickly, here are some ideas of what you can put at the top of the funnel. A lot of SaaS founders struggle with this. They go, what do I sell? Right? You can sell a magazine. Anyone read Latka magazine? It's okay if you haven't. I will not be offended. Okay, this thing does $50,000 a month in revenue because we have a bunch of people paying $300 a month for it. All it is transcribed podcast interviews, printed off at our facility in Michigan, and shipped worldwide. Right? That's a great way to recover CAC, and then we upsell software. Luke, you're loving this, huh? You're going to launch a magazine tomorrow? Nice. So that's that. You could sell an event ticket, right? You're seeing it happen here, right? Launch your own user event, sell event tickets. We do that with SaaSopen.com, right? Everything I'm preaching here, we do. You could write a book, right? Oh, yeah, go ahead. Question. Yes, you can just go to getlatka.com. You basically go in there, put in your shipping address, and then you pay with Stripe, and then boom, it goes right into our system. No, it's bulk. We do 1 per quarter. So anyone who's purchased before Q3 will get the Q3 magazine, etc. Yeah. Yep. Lastly, if you record a podcast or if you've got Ding's talent in terms of singing, put it on a USB. I know it's not sexy, but if he had USB drives here, sell them for $5 a pop with a Square reader, I bet many of you guys maybe go grab it for $5 and get going, right? And then you purchase and he's upselling you on some SaaS tool he has that we don't even know about yet. But Ding, you're converting like crazy, right? It's just going to convert like you're going to be a rich man, okay? Rich man, B2B brothers. Other things you can do, consulting, paid community, right? Paid analysis, paid reports. Is anyone doing this already? Something you sell inside your software company that is not software to recover CAC? Luke, do you guys do this as a publicly traded company? What do you sell to lawyers? Okay. Okay, so if the average law firm is paying the company $35,000 per year, how much might you sell them in professional services that same year? So if you sell $1 of SaaS, you'll sell $5 of professional services. Yeah. Someone else, you raise your hand. What are you selling? Hardware cards. Nice. What's the company name? Boop. Boop. And what do you guys do? Networking app. Very cool. And what do you sell that for? Yeah. And the software? Nice. Okay, so 1x ARPU. Yeah, so you could do 5-to-1 ratio or 1 to. There's a lot of ways to do it. Point is, sell whatever you need to sell at the top of your funnel to recover your LinkedIn ad spend or your Facebook ad spend, right, or whatever you spent on the ad dollars. All right, I'm gonna move forward all this. Last thing, $100,000 accounts. I'm gonna skip through this part, other than having you read this sentence from ZoomInfo's S1. You've got to think about how you get at least one customer paying 10 grand a month, and then at least one paying 50, and then at least one paying 100,000. That is way better than spending money trying to get brand new customers, in my opinion, especially in today's world, right? It's expensive. CAC is expensive, right? Henry at ZoomInfo always was focused on expansion, right? Took it public, over $1 billion now of ARR. Really, really great story. He's only 38. So ask yourself this question, right? And this is a script you can send them via email if you don't know what to build for them to get them to pay you more. We've used this very, very well in the past. It's sort of a friendly way to softly, socially engineer and open the door and get them to respond. Don't send them the type form. Don't send them an Amazon gift card. Phrase it like this. They will appreciate the idea that you're giving them control of your engineering team, and they will give you ideas. And then you decide what you want to build. All right. Huh? Yes. What's your guys' net dollar? It's public. What's your net dollar retention? Interesting. And are you direct? Luke leads go-to-market. Do you report up to the CRO? Directly to the CEO. Okay. Do you have, as part of your compensation, tied to hitting a net dollar retention target? He says with a smile. Okay. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. General, there we go. Now we get to the story. So how many options do you get each quarter if you hit 140% NDR? There, that's the right answer. All right. Any questions on shrinking team, $0 CAC, or getting your first big customer? We good there? All right, let's move on here. We've got about 6 minutes left. Let's go back to the LOI I showed you at the beginning. All right, did I take the offer? Did I take the offer, my first SaaS, to decide to sell? All right, member grew it to about $1 million of revenue. Right, got diluted like crazy, $2 million on 8.5 pre. Got this offer. And so the question to you guys is when you look at this, what decision did I make? Did I sell or did I hold? On the count of three, just yell sell or hold. 1, 2, 3. I love the company. Wow. Okay, interesting. This is the problem. Didn't matter what I think. It wasn't my decision. Wasn't my decision. Why wasn't my decision? I was a freaking founder. 38%. Board just put in at 10.5 posts. Do they like 6.5? They don't make money. If you raise $1 of equity, you have drastically limited your options. All right, you said 24-year-old, you take that. You drastically limit your options if you go focus on raising your seed round versus customers. So just understand, there is a place for equity, and there is a playbook to run, but it is a very different playbook than bootstrapping efficiently and trying to build personal wealth and build something you love building and working on. This is why I've now dedicated my entire life to doing this. I want to celebrate revenue growth of SaaS founders, not your valuation or equity raises, right? I want to help founders get capital quickly without giving up equity, because I know that one day you guys will get rich off your equity, but only if it's your decision, right? You want to control your own fate. And so we've done this. We've done this a lot. We did this with Eric, right? He used FounderPath to raise capital, which is a non-dilutive fund. He then sold, made a lot of money. And we're doing this more and more, right? So we closed this fund last year. It's a $150 million fund. We've put out $125 million to date into 300 B2B software companies, all bootstrapped. I don't know how much equity we've helped founders save, but you can back into your own estimation. But this is what I'm sort of focused on full time because of that whole story. And we use a very simple Excel file to decide how much we can give founders and what the cost of capital is, right? So we give you $1 million. If you're doing $2 million of ARR, you pay it back over 2 to 4 years, right? Or something like that. So last thing as I wrap up here, last 2 minutes, what's going to happen next year? We're dealing obviously with wars. I mean, we elect idiots to office, unfortunately, right? And then obviously equity markets, I think, stay closed. So what does that mean for our world? 3 quick predictions. I think you see Aerocall get acquired by Citrix. Aerocall has done $140 million of ARR. They raised a lot of money. I don't think they get a competitive Series A done. So unfortunately, I think they get, Citrix gets a good deal here. Everyone still makes money, but I think you're going to see a lot of this happening. The Atlassian Loom, the Citrix Aerocall, etc. Number 2, I apologize. I know I talked to a couple of you guys who are all in on the AI GPT train, but I'm just telling you, I think it's totally overvalued. I think it's ridiculously overvalued. It's crazy. You know why I know this? I just listen to myself. When I go to Expedia, and it feels like I'm talking to a human to change my Delta flight from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., and it feels like a human, and then I realize it's not a human, and it's AI, and it's a machine learning. It's like, no, it's artificial. Nobody wants to talk to artificial, right? You want to talk to humans, right? And so I just think you're going to see ChatGPT specifically, you'll read it in the news 6 months from now, valuation cut in half, right? I just think this space is very overvalued. What's way more valuable, don't market and lead yourself with I'm an AI company. Just build a great tool for a customer base and keep more margin because you're using AI on the backside. AI shouldn't be a marketing thing. It should be something you use to keep more profits because you make your business more efficient using it, right? And so that's how I think about AI. And then lastly, we'll put out about $300 million of capital next year, supporting about another 250 companies that want to keep equity. On that note, these are my predictions for last year. I will be at SaaStock in May. It will be a ton of fun. I was in Dublin 2 weeks ago getting very drunk with Alex at a random Irish. Do not challenge Irish people to drinking. They will win every time, and the whiskey is brutal. But you guys should certainly be there. As a summary, if you guys want a quick snapshot of that, that's what we just talked about. I started off with metrics, revenue per employee, 1 day CAC payback period, collected LTV. Number 2, growth tactics, shrink and do more, keep equity. Number 2, $0 CAC ideas and $300,000 customers. And lastly, Aircall Citrix deals happening like crazy. Chat GPT valuation cut. And again, more founders keeping equity using tools like Founder Path. I'm going to skip over all of this stuff and go right to the end. Whoop, and just say thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me. I'll stick around. Thank you.
Waiting on you. Hey, bud. Man, that was a lot to take in. That was a lot of great information, though. Who enjoyed the presentation? One more round of applause for Nathan, please, please. What you mean go crazy? Okay. Well, I know you're recording, Ding, but you're up next, bro. You ready? We got one more song by Ding, and then we're going to do our fireside chat with Matthew.
Let's go, man. I'm not seeing on this one, so don't worry. All right, this next one's called Hitting the Phones. I know we had some hands raised earlier saying y'all in sales, some go-to-market function. Shout out all my salespeople one time. All right, DJ, hit me. I love how loud these speakers get. Shout out my man Jake on the camera. Event Shark. Yeah. Last quarter, I smashed my quota. Short memory, I forgot what I sold ya. Sales pro wisdom like Yoda. I wonder which of my prospects I should phone up. Now you got me hitting the phones. I'm in sales, I love hitting the phones. One call closing while sitting at home. I'm in sales, I love hitting the phones. Last quarter, I smashed my quota. Short memory, I forgot what I sold ya. Sales pro wisdom like Yoda. I wonder which of my prospects I should phone up. Now you got me hitting the phones. I'm in sales, I love hitting the phones. One call closing while sitting at home. I'm in sales, I love hitting the phones. On Zoom, pipeline, hygiene, make employers swoon. G-Cowler, new appointment soon. We done came a long way from the boiler room. I was dialing, smiling and dialing. Meanwhile, the emails kept on piling. Permission-based opener, my SDR's wilding. No silos, but I might be on an island. Always telling about, where you can't afford that. Forecast. Ignore that. I support that. So, what you know about sales? What you know about closing a whale? How do you respond to a proposal that failed? It's a tough role, only true pros can prevail. Last quarter, I smashed my quota. Short memory, I forgot what I sold ya. Sales pro wisdom like Yoda. I wonder which of my prospects I should phone up. Now you got me hitting the phones. I'm in sales, I love hitting the phones. One call closed, someone sitting at home. I'm in sales, I love hitting the phones. Last quarter, I smashed my quota. Short memory, I forgot what I sold you. Sales pro wisdom like Yoda. I wonder which of my prospects I should phone up. Now you got me hitting the phones. I'm in sales, I love hitting the phones. One call closing while sitting at home. I'm in sales, I love hitting the phones. Deal eruption, hi, I know I'm an interruption. Gatekeepers, I'ma call them friends, they may teach ya how to call the end. Golly, all these names on my sequencer. Begin first, maybe I'll start with the low-hanging fruit. Close me a few for it needs concern. And if you're an inbound lead, then it's all about you. It was never about me, even with the discount, you can't discount me. Yeah, I've been about these. Reps not on the phones, okay, start. Close they hard, small mindset shift, and you go way far on the activities and the OKRs. Last quarter, I smashed my quota. Short memory, I forgot what I sold you. Sales pro wisdom like Yoda. I wonder which of my prospects I should phone up. Now you got me hitting the phones. I'm in sales, I love hitting the phones. One call closing while sitting at home. I'm in sales, I love hitting the phones. Last quarter, I smashed my quota. Short memory, I forgot what I sold you. Sales pro wisdom like Yoda. I wonder which of my prospects I should phone up. Now you got me hitting the phones. Oh, Mally, I be hitting the phones. One call closing while sitting at home. Yo, Jay, I be hitting the phones. It's good. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so again, definitely follow Ding on LinkedIn. So what we're doing next, we're going to do our fireside chat. So it's going to be about 2 minutes after we move these chairs. So this fireside chat is going to be a little different than what you're used to. So we're not going to just sit there and just ask them questions, right? Actually, we just sent you these like 2 hours before the event. And so what we did was, me and Isaiah are all about doing things differently. So we're like, how can we do things differently for this event, for this fireside chat? They're usually boring. So what we did, we went through his Twitter, and we got some tweets that he tweeted out about go-to-market and sales and marketing and more go-to-market. And so today we're going to go through those tweets, and he's going to provide some context behind those tweets. So it's going to be open to the audience, so you guys are free to ask questions as you see fit. Just please do not cut them off. You can cut me off the entire time. But if you have questions, you have comments to add, you can just raise your hand or just shout it out. But again, this is a community-based event, so feel free to speak your mind, because he definitely spoke his on Twitter. So we're going to go through it. All right, thank you.
Test.
All right.
Cool.
You got the clicker? All right, perfect.
Do people know why I'm up here?
I don't think so. I think you should tell them why. We know why you're up here.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
I found myself up here.
Yeah.
So I moved to Austin actually in 2013. I pitched early days of Capital Factory and was one of the first actually companies that they invested in one of their first batches. And that company took me over 10 years to build, bootstrapped it for the first 5 years. Shout out to the bootstrappers and know what it's like while raising a small family. So that was insane. And then eventually that was acquired in 2019. And I was looking for something else to do, new to do, and I punished myself by starting another company. And this one I bootstrapped it a little bit, built the idea, and I've been at that now since like about 4 years. So I have raised money, seed rounds, and so the first company, just for background, it's actually the first. So there used to be maps on the internet where you actually had to click to like go to the next little section, like MapQuest. It's crazy. Then Google Maps came out. So my weird claim to fame is I was one of the first people to put interactive maps on the internet. I did weather maps as my focus. Barack Obama, when he came to Austin, ended up, I shared with him because the White House was a customer of ours because we were literally one of the first people to have interactive weather maps on the internet. Grew that to a few million in revenue plus and millions of consumers that used it. Back when you could do B2C bootstrapped, which I think would almost be impossible these days unless you're giving away free stuff to grocery stores apparently. But yeah, that's me. New business that turned into a B2B SaaS. We pivoted. New business is also B2B SaaS, and it's called Summit. And happy to talk about that more as I answer your tweet grilling here.
Yeah, but go ahead, break down Summit while we're here.
Yeah, so Summit is a math engine for your sales and marketing stack. So think about HubSpot, Intercom, Customer IO. These tools are great, but there's no way to do math inside of them. So say you want to calculate something for the customer. Hey, here's your discount. Here's a coupon. Here's how much you would save or make if you moved over to this new product or service that we offer. There's no like quick, easy way to actually run a calculation. So Summit is a way to build APIs that can do math, and then you can easily connect to them from all those tools.
Awesome. Well, we're about to grill you on your tweets, so this is the perfect time for you to go to your Twitter or your social media and clean out your old tweets from years ago. We don't know what you'll ever find, because you might end up on here, and your tweets might end up on the screen.
Yeah, if you're gonna come to one of our events and be a speaker, this could be you. And again, if you have any questions, please just ask. Ask for context. That's what we're here. Me and Isaiah, we're up here to learn as well. Matt has a great brain, so we're just here to pick it.
Sounds good.
So I'm ready for these answers. So let's see if we can go to the first tweet.
There we go.
Because we do not know what this means. And so,
oh, great, thanks.
Take the market is better than go to market.
Yeah. So I have learned now, starting 2 companies, so both the first and the second. As we all know, you can build a fantastic product, and I think go-to-market became this phrase we started using, I don't know, sometime in the 2010s, maybe earlier, where it's like, oh yeah, you got to go to market. But I actually think, to what Nathan was saying, you can go to market by buying a bunch of ads. You can go to market by just doing a lot of things that everyone else is doing. And I think I have found that the most success, the outlier success at least, comes from a take the market attitude, which is, if you go buy Google Ads just like everyone else, or you go post on LinkedIn like everyone else, you use GPT to generate 500 articles like everyone else, you're going to get everyone else's results, right? Take the market to me is sitting there thinking, okay, the market is well defended. There are a lot of incumbents who don't want anybody taking their market share. Take the market to me is like, you find the side entrance, you find the escape hatch, you MacGyver it basically and say, because if you don't, then you're just going to pay the same tax as everyone else, which is the game that we just talked about. So if you want to be bootstrapped especially and you want to succeed or not raise a lot of money, you got to take the market. And that to me means sometimes you got to do stuff that is, whether it's gray hat or it's unexpected or it's just unorthodox or unconventional. That to me is the take the market attitude. I think there's, and that used to be what go-to-market meant back when growth hackers was a thing, and that's what that meant too. But now go-to-market literally could just be like buy ads. And I think like the creativity has kind of gone out the window.
So how do you, which the audience is probably curious, if let's say you're in a market where it's like, it feels like you feel like everybody else has tried everything. How do you come into a market and take it versus kind of just going along and doing what everybody else has done? If they've seen their success with it, how do I know I should do something different?
Yeah. So what I like to do is I like to look for whole. Obviously, this is all metaphorical because I'm trying to talk about 20 industries at once, right? But look for holes. What do I mean by that? So with my first company, for example, as I already said, it was weather maps. I shared links with everyone. I did what everyone else did back in 2009 or 10, which was like, I'm going to pay somebody to create links all over the internet. That was the thing. Forgive me, but like, I'm going to have a WordPress blog because that was brand new. So I did all these things. That didn't generate a lot of results. But then I realized, I was like, where do people go for weather information and weather maps? They're not Googling for it, at least not back then. They weren't going to come to my website. It's like, they're kind of going to like the newspaper sites. That's also weird. Everything's old stories with me. But, they go to newspaper sites. They go to radio sites. They go to CNN.com. And I'm like, how do I get on those sites? So then it basically becomes a quest of like, how do you get to where people are looking for what you've got? And yes, getting the top ad result on Google is one way, but I also like the example of like, what did Twitter do? Or Instagram, they hijacked Facebook, right? That was their first way of doing it. We ended up giving away the maps for free to newspaper sites because their technology sucked, and we're like, if we let you embed it for free, then you're going to send a ton of traffic to us, and now we get that traffic. And so I think you're always looking for a way to basically piggyback off of or hijack kind of somebody else's distribution, right? And so there's ways of doing that are less fancy, and then there's other ways where you just, become an expert on the market. Like you got to find, again, the little loopholes and areas where you can get in there, and it's kind of like social engineering. I mean, that's another phrase Nathan used, where you just find a weakness in somebody else's platform or product, and you figure out how you could get in there. And sometimes that means just searching online. Sometimes it means going to a conference and becoming great friends with the VP of engineering who's like, oh yeah, that does suck. And you're like, oh, we could plug into that. And then before you know it, you've got this deal that didn't exist last week, but like you made it happen, right? So.
Yeah, I'll say I do think a lot of companies do try to think too outside the box though, right? Because sometimes when you try to do too much, you do too much, and sometimes that difference maker could be something very small that I think a lot of founders don't realize, and they find it, but when they find it, like, okay, I need more, and then eventually it's like, now you're doing too much versus, your competitors, and now you're probably not even in the same industry that you really planned on.
Yeah, I agree. I think we talked about it before on the podcast, especially when it comes to point of view. Like I think a lot of companies, especially in mature markets, they try and change their point of view to be different, but a lot of times they're going away from what their actual value prop and what the value of their company is, and they'll just make up a point of view just for the sake of it. But have you ever read the book Play Bigger by?
Yes.
You read Play Bigger?
That's great.
Yeah, I think that's the mindset. When I hear take the market, it reminds me of a category pirate. And
that's right.
How Salesforce, when they first came to the market, and they were like, no more software to the clouds, and they had a whole, I think it was a whole parade in San Francisco. They shut down like one of the streets in San Francisco and had an entire no software parade, and it's things like that helped them become, like, I guess, the most successful software company in history.
They definitely took the market.
Huh?
Said, yeah, Salesforce definitely took the market.
They did.
It's great. Like, actually, we just looked this up. My mind was blown, right? So don't laugh at me. We looked it up last week, and HubSpot was worth how much? How much was it? It was like 22 billion, 23?
Yeah.
I really, Isaiah taught me this. I thought Salesforce and HubSpot was much closer. Salesforce is worth 233 billion, something like that.
Somewhere crazy.
Big gap. Sorry, yeah. So take the market. Take the market. I hope everybody takes that home with them. Take the market. Next tweet. If you're an early stage B2B SaaS, you should only implement self-service once you're so overwhelmed with demand, you can't onboard customers fast enough without it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, especially for early stage. I mean, yeah. This wasn't that long ago. I remember.
I believe all these tweets were this year.
Yeah.
For context, all these were this year.
Yeah.
We didn't go too far back into the database.
No, I got to learn how you guys did it. I don't know. This is clever. I feel strong. This is, anytime you tweet something like this, it's like a rule. There's exceptions. It's okay to have some amount of self-service if you understand. I see way too many founders, though, rushing to implement self-service because they think that's the key to scale. And it's like, yes, if we just have an open door, everyone's going to bust through it. The problem with our business, the reason we're not growing fast enough, is that it's not easy enough to sign up and pay us money. But then you open it up and nobody comes and nobody pays or nobody converts and you don't know why. And you don't know why because you don't actually have conversations with anyone, right? So you will go much faster if you go slower at the beginning, is my belief. And if you can't get somebody to have a conversation with you, you have much bigger problems than the velocity of your checkout, right? It's like, nobody's going to talk to you. If you can't put out a landing page and get somebody to talk to you in the early stage, you're not going to get anywhere anyway. I would say change what you're putting on that page before you say, oh yeah, if we just have it be self-sign up, we're going to learn stuff. Because you won't actually, they'll click, they'll try some stuff, and then they're gone. And you're like, what's your job in the early stages? To learn, right? So you're cutting off your learning channel if you just let people come and go.
Yeah, and I feel like companies that don't do the self-serve too early, I think they can use that as an advantage. So if you have a company and you're not self-serve yet, congrats to you, because you have the opportunity to learn your customer better than anybody else in the industry. So definitely take that with you.
Yeah, I think especially we're in B2B SaaS. There's so many acronyms now. I'm getting tired of them. But PLG is so famous now. Everyone wants to be product-led growth. They think if I implement product-led growth at any point without figuring it out, we're going to scale to a $100 million company. But like you said, and it kind of dawned on me as you said it, it's more like self-service is a company maturity thing than a company model, because it feels like companies that don't have a really high ACV and it's supposed to be a big TAM, that they need to start off doing self-serve. But like you said, and like Shalik was saying with the customers, and think of Slack. If Slack didn't have any more than 100 customers, self-serve wouldn't help them at all. But the fact that they built a big demand and a big audience, and they found out that traffic was valuable, now the self-serve models make sense instead of starting off with PLG and spending money and building your whole model around PLG and it flops.
Yeah, very few of these unicorns started out PLG.
Exactly.
PLG is a nice acronym people came up with after the fact to describe what it looks like when you run Slack. But like, how did Slack get started? It was door-to-door sales. How did Figma get started? Door-to-door sales. They were literally going to people in San Francisco, handing them a laptop and saying, check this out, what do you think? And the designer's sitting right there. That is like Stripe. Patrick is sitting there installing Stripe in people's offices. So none of them started self-service. That's an acronym we came up with after the fact. Be like, oh yeah, that's what success looks like.
Last thing, how do you feel about? I think we were talking about it, but it feels like in the B2B SaaS companies now that, especially when they go product led, it feels like sales is getting comfortable. Like they're not as hands on with the prospect, but there's a big knowledge gap even if you're doing self-service. That because they say like 80% of B2B buyers come to your website already, ready to talk to sales because they've gotten that much information. But there's still a big knowledge gap that sales is still important even in a product-led, motion like that. So how do you feel about, sales being comfortable because the product-led motion is now so rampant?
If you do the numbers on how many signups you need per month to have PLG work, like to keep an AE fed, it's ridiculous. So, and you're not going to get those 10,000 signups a month unless you have a lot of conversations in the first place. Yeah. So again, PLG can work, but do you have 10,000 people signing up every month that are happy?
Not.
Focus on that first then, probably. The 1.2 million happy Loom users, that came before the overnight 80K, so get those.
Yeah, so I think all three of us would recommend, if you're early stage, self-serve. I wouldn't recommend. Learn your customer first. Next tweet. Okay, even if your churn is constant, You want to read that properly? I don't want to mess that up.
Sure.
Let's go ahead.
Yeah, you chose it. No, even if your churn is a constant percentage, you'll need more and more top of funnel just to grow linearly. This is weird, and this is
SaaS 201.
Yeah, SaaS 201. That's right, not 101. 101 is like have low churn. 201 is like even with low churn. Say it's 3%, 5%, 2%. God bless you, negative percent. Negative, you have some. Obviously, it's helping you. You have a tailwind, but anything greater than 0, and you actually need more leads every single month to avoid a plateau, and that's daunting, right? So what that actually means is if you can get NRR that's above 100%, if you can get negative churn, if you can grow the account, if you want to grow exponentially, there's only 2 ways to do it. Either you're growing your top of funnel ludicrously fast, which is what you could say about something like Slack, maybe Loom, et cetera, because they don't have negative churn, or you have negative churn. Those are your 2 options, right? So either your existing customers are growing fast, or you are like actually viral. And I will say, if you're not actually viral, the odds that you will be is close to 0, because virality it's the most unlikely thing of anything, right? It's like, you sent me like 20 things last year, let's say, I signed up for 1 of them, right? So the odds that sharing is the answer is unlikely. So this is tough. I mean, what this basically means is that if you run the numbers, you can basically predict where you're going to level out revenue-wise, wherever you are today. So just take, how many customers you're acquiring, if that's constant, and how much churn you have, and it's like, ta-da, here's where you're going to plateau, and, get ahead of that.
Apart from the creativity that Nathan was talking about earlier, how would you recommend, or what have you experienced with different ways or tactics to keep that top of funnel revenue or that top of funnel growth, I guess, linear and steady in growth? How did you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I've a couple different ways. One is with this business, I'm focusing on the growing customer accounts part. It's B2B SaaS, $500 a month ARPU or so, but we have conversations in Slack, I'm sure a lot of us do, with our customers, constantly checking in. Customer health is everything. Retention is everything. So we're over 100% NRR as well. That helps a lot, because even in months where you have slow new net revenue, having customers that have your back and they upgrade is the greatest feeling in the world. So that's nice. And I mean, in terms of the other, I tend to focus on business development. I am more of a distribution-focused person. So how do I kind of, like I said, draft other large businesses, get their attention, show up at their conferences, show up as their favorite partner, new technology, get on stage. That's kind of how I do it. Ads, there's a lot of ways to grow this linearly, but they're very expensive. So, yeah, I think growing your existing customer base is the way that I like to do it. But
yeah, it's usually that's top of funnel is always on marketing for the most part. It's usually on marketing.
Yes, it's interesting now. And we got marketers in the room, right? I know Yuli's a marketer. Okay, yeah, we got marketers in the room, so they're definitely feeling the fire right now with do more with less. That's the motto for a lot of marketers. So I know a lot of them are trying to figure out how to go to top of funnel. And something that Nathan said, which was really important, is that you can't be like do the lazy route and just throw money at the problem of creating new acquisition or new pipeline for your sales team. And I think we said there are 4 ways other than trying to grow or throw more ad spend out there to try and fix that pipeline issue. And like one of them is obviously increase the amount of opportunities you're bringing to sales. The next one is increase the win rate, but that's more on sales. The other one is do those conversion rates that are in the middle of the pipeline. So if you're bringing in 100 demos a month, how many of those are actually turned into sellable opportunities? And the last one, which could be more on the CEO, which is improve the ACV. So like that's the creativity that Nathan was talking about earlier with trying to figure out, other than throwing more money at the problem, what are those? Where's the bottleneck in the pipeline? Is it pipeline creation? Is it conversion? Is it win rate? And then just address that person on the go-to-market team to figure out where we can improve at.
There's too many levers that you can change other than adding money to the fire.
Yeah.
Too many levers. So next tweet.
If you price high, you're taking on a product challenge. If you price low, you're taking on a marketing challenge. If product is your strength, why would you rather take on a marketing challenge? I love this tweet.
Thank you. Yeah, I know a lot of indie founders, bootstrappers. I know that their product DNA is strong. At the same time, they price low because there's a lack of confidence, right? They're not sure of the value they create. Maybe they aren't talking to enough customers, whatever the source of that lack of confidence is. but then the irony is it puts them right back in the position of having to now compete on marketing because now you just need a hell of a lot of leads, right? And so they're not playing to their strengths. And I think, yes, there's a time and place to figure out what your weaknesses are and work on those. But if your product is your strength, taking on the product challenge to me means going really deep with customers, seeing how much you can get them to pay you, and see if you can get them to pay you 10 times more. Now twice that, now twice that. That's a product DNA thing to me. So, but I think a lot of people fall into this trap, and it's a trap because you don't think of it this way usually. You're like, well, I don't want to ask for a lot of money.
And that goes to the last tweet about the self-serve, about knowing who your customer actually is.
Yeah. No, and I think, getting some perspective on what a lot of money even is for customers. I mean, what did that thing say? 13 customers paying us over $1 million a year for Zoom info? Yeah. It's mind-boggling. These are numbers that in a family budget we've never seen. So, yes.
I like that one. Let's go to the next tweet. Average product teams start with what and how. Great product teams first wrestle with who and why. And adding AI doesn't fix this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that AI, we're definitely going through, obviously, a bit of a hype bubble, and that's going to start coming down. I think when I see AI get added to products like Intercom or products like Notion, thoughtfully, where they know who their customer is, they know why they're doing it, you end up with delightful results, right? And I think there's this temptation to think that, AI first or adding AI is going to somehow substitute for that intimacy with your customer and really understanding who they are and why they're there. And this goes for everything. Onboarding is a great example of this. Why are they here? What are they trying to do? Who are they? AI can't solve that, right? And so to put somebody in front of a little glowing Siri kind of thing and say, oh, this solves onboarding, this solves anything, it just doesn't, right? And I think, knowing who and why is it's difficult, but it can feel like you're going slower a lot of times. And I think a lot of people don't want to go slower. They just want to produce more product or more features.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the who and the why. Because it feels like a lot of companies are obsessing with what their competitors are doing, especially with AI, and they're not thinking, does my customers actually want this, and is the AI actually making it easier? And even from what we've kind of researched, it's like, to us, it feels like a lot of companies go out of business not because of their actual competitors' performance, but because they obsess so much over their competitors and they're trying to copy what their competitors are doing instead of actually going to their customers and figuring out what does my customers actually want. So,
your customers are your customers for a reason.
Yeah.
Make them happy, and if you've made them happy, you should probably make them happier, right?
Yeah. I haven't had many customers ask us for AI yet. I don't know about you. Are they asking you for AI?
Honestly, I don't think a lot of companies, I don't think their customers ask them for AI. I think they just assume that it's like, hey, let's add AI.
It's FOMO. It's
my customers ask me for weird things like, can we get this data field over here? And could we put this number there?
It's usually simple things. It's
Yeah.
usually the simple things that will make your customer happier,
Yeah.
right? I mean, everybody here has probably used a SaaS product. Has any of you asked them for AI? Probably not. It's always these small things, those small bugs that kind of make customers always happier.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's go to the next tweet.
More startups die for lack of distribution than a lack of marketing effort. Distribution, getting the product onto the shelves where your ICP lives, works, and shops. Marketing, making sure they choose you when they see you there. Put your horse and cart in the right order.
What does that mean?
Sheesh. That's a lot to take in right there.
Yeah, I'll summarize it this way. Distribution, marketing, different things. I think distribution is a bit of a lost art. What I mean by distribution is, and it's not just for product distribution. Obviously, my last company did a lot of work in supply chain, and I saw how CPGs thought of distribution. I mean, next time you're at HEB or wherever, there's a reason why the Hellman's is where it is and why the Duke's is where it is. And all these people, they understand distribution is literally everything. I think when we get into software, it's obviously a lot more conceptual and fuzzy, but we think about, SERPs and PageRank and placement there. Maybe we think about, okay, yeah, we got this partnership or maybe placement on a page or A/B testing or something. When I say distribution here, I think that a lot of people don't think about where our customers are actually going to get the cue about what they're going to buy next. So, yes, maybe they Google for it. Maybe, though, they ask their friend who's a photographer what software they should be using to edit their family photos. Maybe they ask, this person over here who runs a startup accelerator who they should be raising money from. Maybe that, distribution to me means being present in the room, whatever that room is, where the decision is being made of who they're even going to look at, right, or what they're even going to buy. And this goes for fundraising too, by the way. Like, let's say you want to distribute your pitch. One way to distribute your pitch is marketing, okay? Marketing would say, I'm going to send this pitch out to a bunch of people. I'm going to do a bunch of email. I'm going to shake a bunch of hands, whatever. Distribution is, I want this investor to take a serious look at my business. I'm going to figure out who this investor listens to for signal. I'm going to make sure that person knows who I am. I'm going to make sure that person says the right thing at the right time to that investor about me that gets them to pay attention to me and take a meeting with me. That's distribution. So do you want to sell your pitch to that investor? Get distributed. That investor is not opening up their inbox expecting, right, to find the next unicorn in their inbox, most likely. And most customers and consumers also aren't necessarily looking at the ads in LinkedIn and a lot of the things that marketers do for what am I going to buy next when it comes to customer support. I don't know what the answer is for your industry and business, but going to where they're actually looking is tremendously powerful. And if once you get at that level, you realize the people that control that positioning, the people who get to be in those rooms, they defend it, right? So that goes back to what we said earlier. Taking the market is about how do I actually get in with the people who control distribution, not just compete with everybody else for attention.
And to that, I would say this is why honing in on your ICP,
yes,
who you're selling to, is so important, because
right.
Your distribution could be good, right, for what you're trying to do, but maybe you're distributing to the wrong people.
Yes.
And then so like you said with LinkedIn ads, this is why targeting has to be on point, because you're targeting probably people you think are going to buy, but who is actually buying from you. And again, to self-serve, like all this comes full circle. You'll know if you speak to your customers. Your customers usually tell you exactly. If you ask the right questions, I'll say, you can find out a lot of information about your customers so you can get that distribution down.
Yep.
I think it's really cool because community-led growth. Sorry for another term to add to your archive, but I think community-led is helping solve a bit of this, because I think marketers are trying to figure out where are they at. Are they in Slack talking to other one? Are they at events talking to peers? Are they on G2 checking the ratings of our software, and they're trying to figure it all out? And I think a lot of good companies are doing the community-led. They're trying to own the traffic and kind of get that conversation where they can kind of control it.
Yeah.
I think Rev Genius and SaaStock and different communities like that are doing a great job of it. So if you're thinking about how to solve a distribution issue, part of it is try to create a community for your customers and for your audience, and you can start to own the traffic and really get a really good sense of your distribution and how well you can market to your customers. So,
and to add to that, I would say if you do not have a community already in your industry, somebody probably already does. And it's never too late to start one. So don't think just because somebody else, one of your competitors, has a big community that everybody joins, that doesn't mean that you cannot start one. Starting from zero is probably the best with a community, because you know exactly who's coming in, you can monitor it, and then again, you can speak to them in a very intimate way, right, and find out what do they want from you. So I just wanted to add it.
Once those communities get big, a lot of them get really boring. Has anyone joined a community that's like really got really out of hand and now it's like boring and like you barely check Slack or you barely check the communities? Anybody?
I'm in like 5 of them at least.
Yeah, I'm in
at
a
least
lot
5
of them.
Which they're just boring. It's like I joined, like, like those ones that promise value, like, hey, if you come here, like, you're gonna learn all this stuff about go-to-market. You get
only
in
if
there,
you pay $25,000.
It's like everybody in there is just like a consultant. It's like, I don't want to work with you. That's usually how it is for us, at least.
Yeah,
it's
big
crazy.
Time. Yeah.
But let's go to next week. We can talk about that all day. So, big mistake. Treating the enterprise pilot the way you treat a self-service trial, just with a higher price tag.
Please go off. Please go off.
Don't do that. So I want to hear you go off about this.
I mean, it's hard to think when you frame it like that somebody would do this, but I think we all start from somewhere, and not really understanding how enterprises work. So you have about that $100,000 ACV or that $1 million ACV. They don't operate. They're treating it like a proof of concept. We call it a trial, and most people just don't go to the next step of even saying what's on trial. And what's on trial is what's a success metric. What does success look like? If we reach that success metric, do you automatically become a customer? Is that what we signed? Or does it say, like, you just get to kick the tires for a while and then you get to walk away if it, regardless of how it goes? Or I have to sell you again. So yeah, I have to, expecting them to opt in once they've already opted into the trial, it's bad news, right? So the idea that you approach a pilot thoughtfully and say, this is for a reason, we have something we're trying to measure, we have a fixed time horizon, and we're going to test the results, and if the results are this, you automatically become a customer. I don't have to sell you again. It's opt out, not opt in. Just things that I've learned the hard way, and I see a lot of founders just treating, hey, this company came up to us, they want to try our software. Do I let them? And it's like, no, not like that, right? So at the very least, what are they in it for? Who's going to use it? This is a very, very controlled experiment. And so the idea that you would just be laissez-faire or loose about it is a recipe for disaster. And I see it because people get excited. And I think when those excitement, when that excitement wears off, or you get in that little buzz, you just want to say yes to everything. I mean, if that giant company, if Nestle comes up and says, can I try your software? You're like, yes. You got to think, like, what are you trying? What do you mean by you're trying? I'll come fly up there and we'll sit down and we'll talk about what do you mean when you say that, right? That's a great phrase, like, what are you actually asking for? And then you're like, oh, well, I just meant that actually we want, Susan to be able to try this to see if it works for that. Oh, that little thing over there, that's what we're trying? You just have no idea. And I think people are just too much of a hurry to bag that logo, to have that trial. And then it goes nowhere because they didn't actually figure out what the success criteria looked like.
Yeah, that's actually true. So to add to that again, as y'all can read, don't do that, please. Please don't do that. So I know it is 7:30, so we're going to go through a couple more to wrap it up because there are some that I do want to hear what you have to say about, and I'm pretty sure the audience will too. So let's go to the next one.
Every business is a lifestyle business. The real question is, what kind of lifestyle do you want, and when do you want it? Success without sacrifice is snake oil.
Snake oil.
I asked that this one be added in there, by the way.
He personally asked for this one.
I mean, I think the punchline's obvious, but I do think that lifestyle business got invented as this like pejorative to be able to apply to people who just want to be really rich and don't actually care about changing the world. I want to change my lifestyle. I want to change my family's lifestyle. That's the most important thing to me. I'm just being honest. If I can change the life of marketers around the world in the process, that's awesome. And obviously I want to sell a good product for a great price and have people be very happy customers. But the idea that, that's not as good as changing the world or that you have to be mission-driven, there's nothing wrong with focusing on developing a fantastic lifestyle for yourself as the fruit of your sacrifice. And I think the real danger is people who are promising, obviously, that you can achieve this lifestyle, this outcome without sacrifice. I've never seen it. And I think the first thing you end up sacrificing, usually as a founder, is your own, your time, your effort, your opportunity cost. And so, yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory in that sense. But I think everything is a lifestyle business. I mean, don't let the people chasing VC funding fool you into thinking that, that the money doesn't matter to them. Obviously, it does.
Yeah, the money matters to everybody. It's about how much and how much are you willing to sacrifice to get that. So
yeah,
it feels like a lot of founders psych themselves out by trying to be Mother Teresa and change the world with everything they do. And if it's just like, dude, if I just want to grow a company and sell it for a couple of million and live the rest of my life happy, then you'll be able to operate a lot more genuinely as you grow your company than trying.
Yeah, be authentic, man.
Yeah, just be authentic.
Be authentic. Let's go to the next one. Okay, one-way founders hurt themselves is getting advice about a topic or area from someone with limited or no success in that specific area, right? They do this because that person is successful in other ways or areas, so they think that's enough. It isn't.
Yeah, I mean, this is true, and I mean, this is general purpose, sort of fortune cookie wisdom in one way that, getting advice from people about parenting who don't have kids or getting advice from somebody about the way to run a route in a football field that's only played basketball is probably not a good idea. I mean, this is prevalent, but I think in business there is definitely, especially with first-time founders, obviously there's a halo effect over people who've had some success. They give you some advice, you think it's amazing, you go try to apply it, and you actually find out if you just peeled away a little bit, they have no experience in this area. And the world is so complex and it's so nuanced that it's very dangerous to take advice from somebody who says, well, I've sold, all these $1 million contracts. You're like, great. That doesn't mean they know what it's like to get somebody to convert for $49.99, after 14 days. That's a completely different muscle, right? So I think that stopping and saying they got a big name, they're successful, that's great, but have they ever done this before? And you might actually find out the person who's failed a bunch of times who's only wrestled with that is going to give you way better advice than the person who's actually been successful in some completely different dimension. So, but I see this happen all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
And this is why me and Isaiah, we keep a group of advisors for ourselves, whether it's business or personal, because of this reason right here, right? So we know we don't want to just have one person that we go to. It's like the end all be all. So we're asking them questions. Whatever they say is like, you know what? That guy makes sense. When in reality, probably doesn't make sense. So if you keep, again, a group of advisors around you, whether it's business or personal, one, keep an open mind when you're asking and when they answer, and don't be afraid to ask other people their opinion on that advisor's advice. Ooh, that was a tongue twister.
Hopefully, the first line of defense is your team. I hope you have people on your team that you feel this way about. That you're like, this person knows more about this than I do. So
you know more about that than I do. My teammate. Okay, so we got time for one more. Let's do one more so everybody can get home. I hope the tacos was good.
People have a high tolerance for ugly products. That's so true. That deliver incredible value. Obsession with visual design, pre-product market fit is mostly value insecurity and Apple cargo cutting.
I agree with this 100%.
Hashtag Salesforce.
That last part, obsession with visual design, pre-product market fit, is mostly value insecurity.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants something to look good, but it turns out if it's a spreadsheet that's just filled with incredible data, it doesn't matter how good it looks, and you could invest a lot of money in making that pretty, and it really wouldn't change the value. I mean, we have a lot of tried examples, Craigslist, et cetera, but one really fun thing, I'll leave you with this fun tip. Next time you're admiring a company, you think their visual design is amazing, and they're super successful, before they had design, before they had design ops, before they had design operations managers, before they had a visual designer who's different than UI, UX designer, all that stuff, go to the Internet Wayback Machine, okay? Go to their homepage when they launched. Look at what it looks like, take a deep breath, and realize none of that probably matters. It's incredible. It's very encouraging, by the way. If you look at what Airbnb is gorgeous these days. Look at what Airbnb looked like when they launched. Very successful. It was bad. But you know what the real design brilliance there was? That Brian Chesky knew what design meant to them at that stage. It meant the user finding the right button to click at the right time and finding rates that mattered and all that. And so design is not about looks.
Sometimes it's about simplicity, right? How fast can I get the value that you're supposed to be providing to me? I shouldn't have to go through 10 different pages to finally see the value that you promised on the homepage. So, again, obsession with visual design, pre-product market fit is mostly value and security. So definitely focus on value.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, absolutely.
Yeah, that was fun. Any questions from the audience before we wrap it up?
They're used to it, and if they aren't willing to do it, then it's probably not a priority to them, because if they actually have a strategic goal of improving their whatever by X percent, they already have budget. Anything that they do, anybody they work with that's not a startup is going to charge them money to show up. And unless it's a sales conversation, obviously charging for the sales conversation, you got to sell them. That's part of the investment. That's your skin in the game. But once it's beyond sales, that costs money. So one really nice thing to do is say, hey, it's a one-time cost, whatever, $15,000, $20,000, at least $5,000, right? To it's a project, right? And you just charge them a project fee, and then you can always say, look, we'll credit this towards your subscription. If you end up going forward, we'll credit towards your subscription. But these companies are used to it. They don't do anything that doesn't have budget. So if they are actually interested, then yeah, they've got the money for sure. I speak from experience.
Anybody else?
Yeah, that has to do with the sort of the metabolism of that big company, right? So I think what you want to do is you want to get in the door as early as possible, get distribution. So I'll give you an example. Unilever was a customer of ours at our last company. I said we did a lot of supply chain work at the end. Unilever is an amazing CPG company. I found out at a moment's notice that I had the opportunity to meet like an up-and-coming director of supply chain there. Got on a plane, flew across the country, went with a person that already had a relationship with him who was going to do a sales call with him, or a sales meeting in person, middle of nowhere, is in Connecticut. Anyway, flying to New York, this thing, do this. I literally got 30 minutes with the guy. 30 minutes with him to say, hi, my name is Matt Wensing. This is what we sell. Al here loves me. Talk good game, whatever. I think it was a year and a half later that I finally sold my first thing to that person. But it was a year and a half of emails, showing up in the right places at the right time, being at the same conferences as them. And he starts going, I know this guy. I trust him. He trusts him. Okay, cool. But then when I asked him for, $15,000 to do a 30-day pilot, it's like, okay. And then later when I asked him for $90,000 to do a pilot, it was like, okay. And then later when you ask for $250,000 to subscribe to something, like, it's been great knowing you for 4 years, here's the money, right? So, but you just can't light the fuse early enough, right? So light the fuse now, whatever it takes, right?
I think you had a question right there, and then you next. But,
yeah.
How do you think about that, like in the competitive space that you're playing into, like when you have competitors that maybe price a little bit lower, like how are you kind of thinking about that?
Yeah, so I'm both good and bad at responding to this because I tend to approach markets from the role of inventor, and what I mean by that is I usually create technology and then I go look to who I can sell it to, which is a classic no-no. You're not supposed to actually do that, but there's ways to do that. So I'm always a solution in search of a person and a problem. And so I don't usually have a problem charging a lot because the product is highly differentiated. If anything, somebody's like, I'm not sure why I would want that, but you're telling me it costs $500. I'm not shopping for anything like that right now, though, so no thank you, right? So that's my challenge. So I can always just usually put whatever price I want to on it because they've never seen one of these before. It's like out of a Dr. Seuss book. On the other hand, if you're coming at it and you have a ton of competitors, point of view is a fantastic, so play bigger, having a point of view. We don't sell saddles here. That's a great Stuart Butterfield essay on this topic, which is like Slack. Once you want Slack, you pay what Slack costs, right? HipChat wasn't the answer. And so there was tons of competition for that, right? You didn't have to get Slack, but somehow Slack could charge a certain price and they could charge a premium. I will say with the first business I ran, we ended up doing weather tracking technologies. When other people were selling iPhone apps and technology for 99 cents or for $5 a month, we were charging $500 a month. We were charging $5,000. And the way we did it is we had a point of view. We were going to be the tool that when you bought it and the governor of the state of California walked into the room, you look good, right? So there's emotional triggers that you can get into that are way more powerful than functional. So what does it mean for somebody to look good and feel good when they use your product? There's premiums in there, right? So, but a lot of people just focus on the functional. When you click this button, this thing happens. Well, they do that too. But do you feel this way when you sign up for this product? Do you feel like this company has your back? I'll give you one other. Never leave a sales call without that person going like, what's your name? Jay. When that person hangs up the phone, they should go like, I want to buy from Jay. And the only way they can buy from Jay is by paying whatever price you say your thing costs, right? If they go to buy from somebody else, they don't get to buy from you, right? So if you don't leave them with the impression that they want to buy from Jay, you've already surrendered a lot of your margin, right? So nobody should ever, you're unique, right? So they can't get what you offer from the next guy. Don't let them, right? Yeah. You're part of the product. Yeah.
Had a question right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you are in a lab until you're not, and your company should have an appetite for those experiments. I think the budget for those experiments should always be known to you, and you should be able to say, what's our appetite for these crazy ideas? And so you start out with a budget. And so a lot of this is we're a small company, so we don't have like a number. But if I were inside a bigger company, it would be like, what is our appetite for this crazy thing? If people say up front, like we have a 2-week appetite or a 2-month appetite or a $10,000 appetite, then it's not about like, is this a waste of time or whatever? Like, well, we're trying to learn something, right? And so if we spend $10,000 or 2 weeks or 2 months and we learn this doesn't work, everybody should come away happy that we've figured out this doesn't work, right? Because the worst thing in the world is to realize like, we never tried that thing, right? So if you approach it more as we need to experiment, we can't not. And I think this comes up when you face the numbers and you're like, you know what? To hit our revenue goal, we actually have to 10x this. You're not going to 10x things usually with marginal or incremental efforts on traditional approaches to anything, right? 10x is hard, especially when you have erosion, you have churn, et cetera. So in those areas, you can kind of point and say, like, we have to try something unique in this thing. Now, maybe over here we can block and tackle and pay the piper and the tolls to Facebook to get the traffic. But if we need to 10x our price, or we need to 10x our top of funnel, or improve our retention, we have to experiment. And so, what's our experimentation budget to try something, right? That's the argument I would make first. And then, everyone's on a leash of a certain length, and you give up when you run out of room, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely add. I would definitely add you want to set those parameters, like you were just saying, whether it's time or budget. It really just depends on the company and the leeway that you have. Your company may trust you to do something outrageous, or they may trust you to just go a little bit outside of the line. So set the parameters first.
And if they give you a really tiny budget, then you just have really lightweight tests, right? Like, okay, you give me $50, I'm still going to use that. I'm going to use that $50 to do something weird and different or crazy. But you can learn a lot with $50 if somebody decides up front they're willing to spend it and try it. Just, it's probably going to, I don't know how long that takes you, but it's a quick experiment. So that's the thing. Like, just find out what the budget is. And then, you know what? You can earn a lot of respect by pushing back and saying, I don't think we need $5,000 to try this. Like, I bet we could learn a lot on 500, right? There you go, right? So that's how I like to approach it.
Yeah, did anybody else have any questions to add? Please throw it out there.
Yeah, so I have, first sales rep in the company is always me, mostly by necessity. So it was just me and a co-founder, and the product started selling. With the first business, we were one of the earliest freemium products. So we ended up with about 4 million users, I think, and we ended up with, I think, about 50,000 email addresses, 20,000 email addresses, something like that. And we started to get inbound emails, and I had to learn how to sell. So that was something. I do think that founders that don't learn how to sell are at a huge disadvantage. I think sales is a skill. I think, like some other skills, it can be very unnatural. But if you don't learn it, you are definitely handicapping yourself. So you just need to learn to sell. It starts with, I swear it's just a conversation about understanding people's needs and wants. And people have often teased me that the way I learned to sell was I made people like me so much that they wanted to buy whatever I was selling. And that's a way. So, what kind of salesperson are you, et cetera. But founders got to sell first. Big believer in that. It's the closest, tightest loop between you and product changes is you selling. You've got to sell. Sales reps, though, hiring, I have made mistakes. So I have hired inside sales reps that needed a playbook and a script to do enterprise sales. That didn't work. I've hired non-technical salespeople to sell a product that's too technical and requires solution engineering. That didn't work. Where I did find success is when you realize who you're selling to, what kind of person they usually talk to. Selling supply chain software, it turns out that people who tend to be good at that are people who've been in the industry for a long time, who have sold technology for a long time. Like some industries, you just kind of have to know what brings the guard down. And then there's certain people who are magical as founders who can say, like, I don't even know how trucks get from here to there, but I want to learn. And then you kind of come in with this, bright, naive look on your face, and everybody just wants to tell you all about their business and their lives, and then they want to buy stuff from you. So, but sales is a skill, and you can learn it. When I did my first enterprise sale, I sold a subscription to Honda North America. I found myself in a rental car going to Marysville, Ohio, to a 1 million square foot manufacturing plant, which is where parts go in one side and Civics come out the other. I had no idea what I was doing. Showed up in a room about this big. It was a conference table, U-shape. 13 or 20 people in, kid you not, jumpsuits show up, white things with a Honda logo on them, and they're like, and it's me and a PowerPoint I made last night, or Google Slides, actually, forgive me. And I had a book that was in my backpack that I learned, like, how to do solution selling. And it basically was like, ask these questions and see if you can get to the bottom of it. I did that. I survived. But also later, sold a $40,000 a year deal. They became a lifelong customer. The lifetime value of that account is huge. But you'll be okay. I think where founders get in trouble is where they actually try to force themselves to be a salesperson, and then they get way out of their comfort zone, right? And it's like, actually, that's a terrible salesperson. Like, that's the kind of salesperson nobody wants to buy anything from, right? So be a founder salesperson first. Hire the right rep for the industry that you're in, and you're going to make mistakes. So have a have patience and expect yourself to fail with your first sales hires. That's normal. Also have somebody who knows what a good salesperson is probably involved in the interviewing process, right?
Yeah, I remember when we first started, and you remember we were doing sales. Actually, me and Isaiah went door to door doing sales. The most awkwardest thing, like literally door to door, knocking on people's door, and they're like, "Yeah, no, get away." And so, if there are any founders that are doing sales and you're trying to do better without having to Google like how to sell, so I would say just one nugget right before we go. What has helped me and Isaiah with our sales was. It was one simple question I think that we asked like every call, and it was like, "Is there any reason why you wouldn't buy from me?" Right? And it's a very vulnerable question because, man, did we get fried? We got fried a lot, but it helped with sales, right? It did help them understand like, hey, like you just didn't sell me. Sometimes like that was an answer, like you just didn't sell me, or like, your product just isn't it for me, right? So you'll definitely find out a lot about you as a salesperson, about your company, about your website. They're probably going to tell you. So just ask that question, right? Is there any reason why you wouldn't buy from me?
The last thing I want to touch on is it's really important for founders to at least learn how to sell your product at least, because we know a founder who he doesn't know how to sell, and he didn't even know what salesperson to look like, what sales archetype to get, whether it was inside sales or another type of salesperson. And we've seen the CRM, and it's a couple million in opportunities and less than $250,000 in close one because that sales rep is immature and he doesn't fit the company's like context. So, and the founder didn't know what to look for, but the founder was at least decent at sales and knew what cues to look for, or had somebody in the meeting with them when he was interviewing it. They would probably have a lot more revenue close right now. So those are like the small things of why a founder needs to learn how to sell or have somebody in the conversation when they're trying to hire their first salesperson.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, like, let's talk about hiring as a whole, right? When people hire, y'all can look at other people's job descriptions, right, and hire off that. Because I feel like a lot of people, they hire, let's say I need somebody to do this one thing. I'll hire somebody to do that one thing. But then now it's like you look up and everybody else in the market is doing 10 times for that one role. And it's like, well, now that guy's like, hey, I'm not going to do that. Like, you didn't sign me for that, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that when you do have a problem in your company, this goes for anybody, don't hire for that one specific problem. Hire for the role that solves that problem. And look at what everybody else is hiring for. Look at those job descriptions, right? Because you may find something that you didn't know. So I think that definitely helps with hiring.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, on that note, we can wrap it up. If anybody did park in the parking garage, we have vouchers for you. So just stay. I'll hand them over to you.
One last question for anybody, and it could be just one person. What were you looking forward to in the next event?
Well, that's a good question.
Because I know if we send an email out or survey out, nobody's answering.
Should it be okay? This is no self-serve, right? This is right here. So should the event time? I think we supposed to start at 5:30. Should it be 5 or should it be 6? I know we're about to end. It's almost 8 p.m. Anybody want to add any feedback? 6 is very nice. Anybody else want to share that? 6 is okay? 6 is better? Yeah, I'm going to be transparent. And we're actually live streaming, if you didn't know. We had some difficulties with the tech here, per usual, right? So next time we're going to come here at 4:30, and then we're going to let Ding rehearse for an hour. And then we're going to invite everybody in. But, yeah, thank you, everybody, for coming. I'm going to send out the email. I think I have everybody here. I have your emails. I'm going to send out an email with our community for SaaStock that we're going to be hosting as well. We're going to be putting all the news and updates in there. December 8th is our next event, our next SaaStock local. That one is going to be insane as well.
I'm not going to say any names. Should I?
No, you should not say names.
I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I can't. It's a secret.
It's a secret.
They'll get me. They're watching live right now.
Trying to spoil it.
They're in Dublin right now watching me, just baiting me to see if I'm going to say it, so I can't say it.
Don't get me in trouble, please. But, yeah, thank you, everybody that came. Again, please join the community. I'm going to send it out in the email. And then me and Isaiah are going to be here to watch everybody leave and wave and say bye. So please ask us any questions if anything comes up.